Hi, this is Andy from GPS Training. In this short video I'm just taking a typical look at how I use a Garmin Fenix 7 watch for when I'm out hiking. So in the video I'm just going to look at how you can load a course that you've been emailed and sent to your watch using Garmin Connect, and look at some of the navigational screens and give you an idea how you can change some of the data box fields to suit things like you would like to see personally when you're out on a hike. Could be information to do with elevation, distances to end of route, etc. So just to give you a feel how you can personalise the watch for your different activities. So if I press my start stop button top right of the screen, it shows you activities that I've loaded onto the watch. You get a lot of preloaded ones from Garmin that you can load on when you first set up the watch. So I've actually got the one here called hike. So I'm just going to go into the hike one. I have changed some of these screens already, but if I look at the hike one first, the first data screen that I will see when I'm recording a hike is a timer showing you how long I've been walking for, distance, my moving speed, and if I had it on my wrist, I would see my heart rate at the bottom. If I move with the down button, you'll see I've actually got an ascent screen set up where I've set up total ascent, de-elevation, and total descent. If I move down again, we've got time of day, which is always useful just to get your time of day. I've actually got a compass bezel, which has shown my direction of travel as I turn the watch. We've also got the Garmin Topo Active European maps. With the Fenix 7 Sapphire versions, you get these preloaded on the watch for all of Europe. And if I scroll down, that's just searching for a device that I normally have paired with my watch, and back to the data screens. The nice thing is you can individualise what you see on the standard hike data screens, but also when we start navigation, there's some extra screens for navigation that you can change as well. So I'll give you an idea of these. So when I'm setting up the initial hike screens, I don't worry too much about putting in things to do with distance to end of route, anything to do with navigation, because they will appear as new data screens and boxes when you actually start your navigation. So we'll have a quick look at those separately. So this is more where maybe you want to look at my speed. It could be fitness data, especially if you're training for an event, and simply like I've got the timer, I mentioned distance, heart rate, and I've also got some elevation data. So when you're on one of these data boxes and you're in your hike profile, I can just press my middle left hand button and then select hike settings. First option is actually data screens, so I'll select data screens with the top right hand button. Little pencil icon to the right is the edit, so again I'll press the top right hand button. First option is layout, so on this first data page, by selecting layout I can use my up and down buttons and select different layouts to suit. Some of them, as you can see, have more data fields. I could have just one big data field, and I'm just hitting the middle left hand button, which is the up button, just to go back up to the one that I actually had. So that's the first thing you can change. Just press the back button to come out of there. Data fields, I can go down to data fields. This is how I set up my data fields. So I've got the timer one flashing at the top. I can press the down button, which is the bottom left hand button, to go to the next one. Same again to go to the next one. So if I wanted to change this moving speed one, I'll just select it with the top right hand button, and it gives me my first heading distance field. So if I went into distance fields, it would all be things to do with distance. And just scroll down and look for one that you want to change it for. There's not lots of choice in the distance one. Back button comes back out of there. There's pace fields, speed fields. So the speed fields is where I've got the moving speed from. I could go down to heart rate, cadence, temperature if you've got a Garmin Tempi sensor, elevation fields. If I went into elevation fields, I can have average ascent, descent, maximum descent and ascent, what my elevation chart is, elevation at the moment. Loads of choices there. I've already got them on another screen, so I'm not actually going to put them in here, but it's just to give you an idea how you can personalize the watch. Compass fields, I can put my heading, what is my current bearing, what is the GPS heading, and again I can just move down navigational fields. I'm going to look at those when we actually go into the navigation settings rather than putting them in here. Workout fields, other fields. Actually, I'll go to the other fields because you have some that you wouldn't realise were there. If you're interested in looking at your calories burned when you do an activity, there and there. I can have battery percentage, battery hours, just a little graph showing my GPS signal. Laps wouldn't be relevant really for a hike. can have sunrise in there, sunset, that's useful, especially when you're doing a long hike, time of day, and barometer. You can have pressure, and I can have my number of steps recorded. So there's lots of choice just to individualize it. But typically for a hike, I'm happy with just seeing how long I've been walking for, my distance. I like to see me moving speed. It just gives me an idea of how I'm doing. And I'll just come back out of there now and right back out. If I move to the next box down, I've got elevation, where I've put lots of elevation settings in. Again, I did that using this top right hand button, changing the layout and then changing the data fields. If I go right the way down past the last screens, I get this add new. So if I was to select add new, I could add a whole new screen with new data boxes, so you can really individualize the watch. The other setting I'm going to show you, if I just come right back out of my hike and go into the main settings on the watch, if I go down to the option navigation, this is where you can set what screens you see when you're navigating a course. That's why I wasn't too worried about setting them in the actual hike setting. So I've got navigation here. If I select that one, it's got data screens. As you can see, I've got the map on. I want to see the map when I'm navigating. Up ahead's useful if you use Garmin Connect. On the Garmin Connect app or on a computer, you can add little points in that you want to see up ahead on a route, and then you get this extra screen saying where things are coming up on your route. But you need to use Garmin Connect to do that. The little guide is where on the actual map screen you get a little section at the bottom of the map that's giving you information about when turns are coming up, etc. I like to see elevation plot when I'm walking, so I've got all these turned on. You can see the little green tab to the right. If I was to press the start stop, that would turn them off. So I tend to have all those ones on. And then I've got screen 1 on, so if I move down to screen 1 there, I'm just using the touch screen, it's showing you on screen 1 I've got ETA, so estimated time en route, distance remaining, and ETA. And on screen 2, I'll just go to screen 2, I've actually got, I think I've just got a timer field in there, so I probably didn't need that because I've already got it on the hike settings, but again, it's personal. And screen 3 and 4 I haven't got turned on, so I could actually turn those on. So you set those screens up in a similar way. So screen 1 there, I can go to the layout and then again change the layout as we did on the hike ones. So now if I just show you a typical routine I would go through if I'm about to start a hike. So if I'm outside, GPS signal, I'll just press my start stop button, make sure I've got the hike profile selected. I press the start stop just to get it ready. Now when it gets a satellite signal, you get this little GPS tick at the top in the little green bar. You normally need to be outside, but because I'm close to a window, I've got a view of the sky. Now before I actually start the recording and start recording the data, because I've sent a course to my watch to follow, this is where you can follow on the map screen a line or a pointer pointing you to the next part of your course, or what we might we've used the terminology route if you're using a handheld GPS device. So before I start the actual recording, I'm going to hold the middle left hand button in, scroll down to navigation, and in here any courses that I've sent to my watch, I can go down to courses and find them. I've got various courses I've sent to my watch using the Garmin Connect app, and I'm looking for a nighttime one here, so one close to where we are at the moment. It's 11.5 miles, so it says do course. I could actually look at the map and just see where the course is, just showing you a red overview of where it is, and I can zoom in and zoom out on the map and actually have a look at that in more detail. Because it's a touchscreen, I can actually move the map around as well. If I hit the back button, I'll just go up to do course and select do course, and that will now load the course. So now if I was ready to start my hike, it's actually prompting me to start at the top. Press the start button and it starts recording. So it's showing me a distance at the bottom of 0.37 miles just to get onto my route. And actually you can see here I've actually got the touchscreen enabled. Normally when I'm doing an activity I have touchscreen disabled by using the two shortcut buttons, the top right and the bottom left, and that turns the touchscreen off. But I find when you want to move the map around using these two buttons here, the touchscreen's quite useful for actually moving the map around and seeing what's coming up. So I'm this little blue triangle here, so I can see where my route is here, that's the end, and if I just move it around I can see where it starts, and I can just follow that pink line. That's what I'm going to actually see to follow on the GPS screen as I walk. I'll just show you some of the other screens. So if I go down, you actually have a new screen now. I mentioned about having the elevation data turned on in the navigational settings. So it's showing me there's 5 climbs, and this is the first climb I'll be coming onto. And once I get onto that climb, I'll see this change colour as I move up the climb. So that's really useful. It's showing me at the minute that I'm off course, which I know I am. I'm not actually on the course, but the little arrow pointer here is pointing me in the direction I need to go to get onto this course, and then it's got my distance remaining. Scroll down again, I've got a nice elevation chart showing the full elevation. As I go over the hills, this will change colour and show where I am on the elevation, so really useful. And then we showed you the extra navigational boxes. It's got my estimated time en route, an hour 30, distance remaining 11 miles, 1168.68, ETA 431. This will change as I start moving. At the minute it hasn't really got any data because I'm not moving, so as it's trying to lock onto the satellites, it'll be giving me some false data. That certainly will change when I start moving because I don't expect to do the route that fast, but that data all changes once you start moving and you're outside. And I've got the timer going there showing how long I've been going for. I know I've duplicated that on another screen, so I could potentially just change that timer on this screen here. And it's the data we were looking at before, the ascent, elevation, my current elevation, total descent, so lots of information as we navigate back to the compass. I tend to have it on normally the map screen when I'm navigating to see where I am, but once I'm happy where I am, to save battery, it's always better to move it off the map screen once you can see where you're going. And if you are going to navigate, potentially leave it on the pointer screen, will use less battery, or one of the other data screens, not actually leaving it on the map screen. I just tend to go to the map screen first and zoom in and out to see where I am. So the nice thing as well is, as we start walking, if at any time you decide you want to navigate back to the start, a nice feature on the Fenix 7 watch is, if I just stop the recording temporarily with the start stop button, and then either wait a few seconds or I can press the back button, and when you scroll down you'll see an option, back to start. So if I select back to start, it gives me the option, do you want to track back? And then it'll track me back to the start. Of course, I'm only 13 feet away really. I'm not away from the start because I haven't actually walked anywhere, but that is how you would start the track back. So that's a really nice feature. The other setting I've put in my watch, in the main settings on the watch, you can set up hotkeys, and I've set up a hotkey so that when I hold in the start stop button at the top right of the screen, it actually displays my current grid reference. Really useful when you're in the hills, especially if you're used to, in Great Britain, you're used to using Ordnance Survey maps. When you set your watch up in the system settings and format for British National Grid, which is the grid system we use on an Ordnance Survey map, I can actually see my grid reference to cross-refer with a paper map. So I can use the NU, which is my sheet number, my British National Grid sheet number, and then my first 5 numbers are the eastings as I go along the map. So generally you would look at the first 3 numbers there, and the second 5 numbers are the northings as I go up my map. And again, I would look at the first 3 numbers there, the 016, cross-refer with my paper map. I could save this as a waypoint in the unit to navigate to, but I'm actually just going to hit the back button there to come back out of it. So I hope you found this video useful on just a general feel of using something like a Fenix 7 watch for when you're out hiking. This is great when you've sent a course to the watch that you may have planned on some more detailed mapping software. You could have used the GPS training free OS planner on our homepage. Lots of videos on how you then get it onto your watch on our homepage. Maybe you've been, in this case I was emailed the route, and then on the emails on my phone opened it on the Garmin Connect app to send my watch, but it's been planned on some OS mapping, but I'm now able to follow it on my watch overlaid on the Garmin European mapping. So I hope you found this video useful, and one thing just to remember when you finish your hiking, always remember to stop it at the end, and then you do get the option to save it. And if you save it, you can then review all of the data on the watch about where you've walked, and you can also look on the Garmin Connect app at all of that data. So thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video.